Hello and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Val and I make Sims 4 videos. And today we are building two realistic American houses. As usual, there is a lot of CC. I think this one came to be about 3 gigabytes, so it's quite big. It is two houses though, so I want to say that that is meeting expectations for the fact that it's two houses. Before I talk about the build though, I do need to go over a few things. So unfortunately the process for this build has been pretty bad. I've done this voiceover I think like 8 times. I'll be completely honest with you guys. I'm having a really terrible time with this build. I'm having issues with my editing software, with my recording software, and now with my microphone. My microphone, I've done 2 recordings tonight, and both times my microphone has been clipping. I even tested the second one by like cutting it in half, and it was fine, and then it started clipping on the second half. So if I sound a little bit exhausted, or if I repeat a lot of the things I've said, it's because I've redone this so many times now that I probably won't remember if I've said something already, or if I just think I said it in the other recording but I haven't, so it's probably going to be a bit all over the place. But I know a lot of you much prefer watching my videos if there is a voiceover, and I don't think anyone would be. I think some people would be disappointed if they expected a voiceover and then there wasn't one. So yeah, I'm doing it again. It's currently 4 in the morning. So everybody be grateful. Everybody say thank you. So this build is based off of 2 houses. Obviously it's 2 houses. One of them is from a listing on Zillow. I will link that in the description below so you guys can have a look at that and compare it to the house that I did. And the second one is based off of the Diaz house from Life is Strange. I did post teaser photos of that here on YouTube. I've done both houses as accurately to the references as possible, but I did take creative liberties, as I always do, and change some things to be what I wanted. And like the build itself was pretty simple, pretty easy to do, aside from me just having the general frustration of not liking the interiors I've done. I always have that issue where I hate the bedrooms lately. I hate all of them. Like, kitchens are so easy and simple and I love my kitchens. I usually struggle a lot with the living rooms, but lately bedrooms have been hard for me, and so I'm not like 100% satisfied with this. I think that when it comes to the save file versions of these 2 houses, I will probably change them quite a bit, because I don't like the bedrooms. And yeah, so I did post photos of this on Tumblr too, of the finished version, and also of my process with terraining. And let me tell you, terraining in this game is not it's not hard. I will say it's pretty easy, but it's a process in that you just really have to trust yourself, and you really have to trust that you know what you're doing. So if you're someone who's unfamiliar with terraining, or you'd like to try it, I really can't recommend enough that you give it a go, because the difficulty is definitely worth the outcome. I will say this build, I think the exterior is my favorite part, which is rare for me because I usually don't like my interiors that much. Typically my interiors are my favorite, and then my exteriors, I look at them and I'm like, what happened? But this one, I do think the exterior far exceeds whatever I was doing with the insides. So yeah, the training, I think it just came out really well, and I really, like I said, I had to trust myself and trust that I could make it look good later and leave it alone and stop staring at it, because if I stare at things for too long, they start to stress me out really bad. But it came out good. I was shocked. I was surprised. I've been desperately trying to do a split level. You know those the classical, typical American, ugly split level house that every architect will tell you is their worst nightmare. I've been trying to do one of those. I haven't yet achieved it, but I would say that this is as close as I've been able to get. This isn't a split level technically, but it's like an exercise, I guess, in trying to capture a split level. The next large house I do is going to be a split level, also help me God. I haven't done a speed build in a little bit, I know, but the next one will probably be a smaller house because this just took everything out of me and I need a break. I need a break from residentials. That's why I was doing a lot of long plays, because doing residentials was starting to it was really starting to take it out of me. And you know, this came out good and I'm happy with it, and I was happy to get another speed build done because it's been like a month, I think. But I remembered why I stopped doing it for a month, and it was because I didn't want to do residential ones anymore. I got sick of them. They're so frustrating sometimes. Like, community law is so much fun because they're all different, and I get so excited and I have so much fun doing them, and then I do a residential and I'm like, oh god, here we go again. That's how I feel. Yeah, and both of these houses have sims with storylines, so nothing is super detailed as of yet. I will say that the first house, I intended on making it for a mother, a father, you know, the typical, I guess, and their preteen daughter and a baby, but I ended up changing my mind. And I decided not to do the baby. I mean, the baby stuff is there. So there is baby stuff inside in the house. But for the save file, and also like what you will see, and for the save file, there won't be a baby. I decided not to do it. I said no to that baby. That baby's gone because it was going to be a surprise baby, and I don't know, the more I did it, the more I thought about them as people, and I was like, I think they only have one kid. They were giving off that they would only have one kid, and I think they're a very close, tight-knit family, and there's no story for them, because I think it's really important to have sims who, if you're playing rotationally, because the save is being set up for rotational gameplay, it's really important to have sims who are just a little bit more low-key, you know? Like, I'll have my sims who have very complicated, dramatic storylines, and then there'll be a few households that you can switch to, who will just be, you know, living their life like normal. They don't have anything crazy happening. So I think the mum is probably into gardening because there are no hobbies in this game, despite what EA wants to convince you of with the businesses and hobbies pack. The dad, I think, is unemployed. Yeah, he's unemployed. I think he had a workplace injury that, you know, I would love for it to be. I would love to have disabilities in the game, because I would love to make it that he had a workplace injury that has like disabled him, whether that be temporary or permanent, I don't know. But we don't have disabilities in the game, so yeah. So he's currently not working, and they are older parents, I would say. They're probably like late, mid-50s maybe? Is that older? I mean, she's like 13. So I think they probably had her when they were in their late 30s. And they maybe didn't intend on having kids, but they love her, they adore her. She is their light. She's a cheerleader, and as all preteens are, she's having a bit of a moment where she thinks her parents are the most embarrassing people in the world. And I'm basing that off of me having a younger sibling who is a preteen right now, and they think that I am the most embarrassing person in the world. And if you have preteens, then you will know what I mean, or if you have siblings, because they're so weird, because they will think that you are so embarrassing, and yet they constantly want to be around you. Like, it's kind of like how a baby always wants to be held, and then they kind of do a 180 when they're a preteen and they want the same thing again, but they won't communicate it. Like, they want to be around you all the time, they want to hang out with you all the time. My sibling wants to hang around me and my boyfriend all the time. They don't really want anything to do with me. They think my boyfriend is really cool, but when it comes to me, I think I'm embarrassing to them. So yeah. But yeah, she's a cheerleader, and I think she takes her cheerleading very seriously, and she kind of just wants to be around her friends all the time, and her parents are a bit like, you know, you have curfew at this time, and they're getting a bit in the way of her social life. When it comes to the family that lives next door in the larger house, it is a single dad and his 4 daughters. And I was thinking specifically about, in media, how common it is when a dad is a single dad, how common it is for his daughters to take on the role of wife and mother, or usually it's one daughter. Like, think of Twilight, or like a dad who has sons and he only has one daughter and the wife isn't there because she's been fridged or something. She usually ends up taking on the role of wife and mother. She's doing all the housework, all the cooking, all the cleaning, and I was like, you know what, we're not gonna do that. We're not gonna do that. We're gonna do a dad who looks after his kids, and his kids get to be kids. They get to leave a mess around the house all they want, and he's like, I'll clean it up. You know? I think he's a bit lenient on them in that sense, so that's maybe not the best course of action. But yeah, I was thinking of, he isn't like one of those, he's not Charlie from Twilight, okay? He's not. His kids get to be kids, and that was my idea. I think he used to be a rock star actually as well. He used to be in a punk rock band, probably something like Green Day is what I was thinking. Very politically, because punks are typically very politically aware and like political activists a lot of the time. I was thinking that he definitely was involved in the punk rock scene when he was younger, and I don't know what happened to his wife, and that's not me trying to fridge her, I just don't know. I haven't figured that out yet. And I think his eldest daughter is very into music as well, so she's also in a band, because I have a band in the Save, which is a group of teenagers, so she's involved in that, I've decided. And then his second eldest is a child, and she's going through a bit of she's having a moment. She's very into, like, she's into everything, I guess, is what I was going for with her. She wants to do everything. She wants to be everything. She wants to be smart, she wants to be cool, she wants to be popular, blah blah blah. So she did ballet for a little bit, and then I think she's quit ballet. She didn't like it very much, and she's moved on to soccer, and she likes basketball as well. So she's very sporty, but she's also very nerdy, I guess, because she's very recently like started a Dungeons and Dragons campaign, and like her dad is the DM, so she's not technically the one running it, but she's in a D&D campaign, this little 10-year-old girl. And she has like her little group of friends playing it with her, so every weekend her friends come over on Friday night and they sleep over till Saturday, and they host their little D&D game for hours. And he does have 2 more daughters. I only did room for 3 in the house, so yeah, once again the save file version will be different, because I only did a child, a teenager, and an infant, so that will be, you know, you guys can have 3 kids in the house. There's no room for the infant, they will be sleeping like wherever, but you could easily put them in the same room as the child if you wanted to. I just didn't set it up like that. So yeah, that's the story I was going for. It's nothing crazy, like I said, there's nothing super detailed happening. I do have to work out the kinks and kind of confront myself with what I want to do. But at this point in the video, we have moved into doing the kitchen. I do encourage you guys to look at the Zillow listing, because I love the kitchen in that house. It is so ugly. I really love, I wouldn't say it's tacky, the decorations they have in the house, but they're corny. Like they have like a little coffee sign near the coffee machine, and they have those really corny like love, family, friendship signs around. And obviously we don't have anything like that in The Sims. I need to find some CC of that so I can start putting it in my Sims houses, because I think that would be really fun. But yeah, so we don't have anything like that going on, but the original pictures are they're so everything to me. One thing about me, again, if you're new here, I love very ugly houses. I think they're so fun to make, and I think it's really important to practice giving your Sims houses that don't visually appeal to you, because not everyone has a visually appealing house, you know? We can't, not everyone owns their house, so they can't pick what their kitchen looks like, you know? You can decorate it to the best of your ability, and that's the most you can do. And sometimes that means that your decorations really clash with what the house looks like on its own. So I try and emulate that as much as I possibly can. And I think for the Sims that live here, they do own this house, but it's quite an old home and they've owned it for a very long time. But yeah, I really love the Zillow listing. I've had it saved for so long now, and I've been trying to find a place for it in the save file, and it's taken me absolutely forever. But this kitchen is probably my favorite room in like the entire build. I mean, it's the first thing I did, and I usually like the first thing I do, and then I slowly start to hate everything else that I do over time. But yeah. One other thing as well, unrelated, is that I do really want to talk about how I feel about the new expansion pack, but I think my opinion on it is a bit controversial, because the way I feel about the new expansion pack, and I've posted about it on Tumblr, goes beyond just the EP and more towards how I feel about the EA Creator Network and EA's general marketing of The Sims. And I guess they're two separate conversations that I want to have, and maybe get some of your guys' perspective on it. I think when it comes to the EA Creator Network, at its core, I don't really care about it. I don't really care that people are on the EA Creator Network. But when it comes to the marketing side of, and how people within the network exist to market the game, and how corporations now use influencers for ads and influencers to sell things, and how the EA Creator Network is basically just the influencer network for The Sims, right? And how those people are used to get people to buy the packs. I think it's insidious. And I think if it were the case of EA was actually putting out good and quality content that is worth being recommended and is worth marketing to people, I wouldn't complain about it, because it's the same as like if an influencer goes online and markets a perfume to me and it's a good perfume, I'm like, yay, cool, awesome, I would love that. But nothing that EA puts out, I never genuinely believe that anyone is being truly sincere about it to me. I do believe that people like the packs. I do believe there are good features, but I never believe that it's worth buying, I guess. And I don't want to discount anyone's opinion or discount anyone's honesty, because I do think people are being honest. I just think there's not enough transparency around the conversation and transparency around how EA is not really taking advantage of consumers, but also the people that they work with to market their packs. I just personally don't agree with using I just don't agree with it. I really don't. I think it's a great opportunity, and I wouldn't judge anyone for taking the opportunity. I just don't agree with the network. And I don't know how you guys feel about that. I know some people probably just don't care and don't pay attention to it, but when you really start to think about it, it becomes a bit more obvious how it's a bit sinister. Like, people nowadays, they don't want to have opinions for themselves. They don't want to come to a consensus on something that EA does. They will simply turn to the people around them and see what everyone else is saying. And if your favorite Sims creator is telling you that they love an expansion pack and you should buy it, some people are going to listen to that and just buy it and not have a thought for themselves about it. And yeah, that's not the creator's responsibility if people can't think for themselves. But it's still, you know, so I do really appreciate people who are very transparent and do say when they don't recommend things. I just don't think it's as common nowadays. I don't think it's as common for people to be honest, because everyone has bills to pay. And that's fine. But it's a tricky situation. So, and I bring that up because it is in relation to how I feel about the new fairy thing, because it does not look like a good pack. And granted, we don't have it yet, but I think with EA's track history, we don't have to have it for me to say that you shouldn't buy it, and we don't have to have it for me to say that I wouldn't recommend it to anyone, and I don't think it looks good, and I don't think it's gonna be good, and I don't want to be the negative person either. I'm just saying I'm just saying really what I think the truth is. I don't like EA's angle of attempting to market eco-living to us when we currently live in a world that's being overrun by AI and capitalistic corporations that want to make a quick buck, you know? And also that The Sims has kind of been reduced to a utopian paradise, and I don't care to have fairies and like supernatural features if it's not presented as an option. I feel like I'm being force-fed things that I don't particularly want in my game without first having been given features that relate to my everyday life. Does that make sense? Like, my Sims can't go grocery shopping, they can't push their babies in a stroller. My Sims can't be disabled. There are no there has never been disability features in the entire Sims franchise, and the franchise has been out for like, how old is it now? 25, 26 years old? Never, not once. I have fairies, but my Sims can't have wheelchairs. I don't think there's anything more disappointing than that, when disability is such a huge part of people's everyday lives. I myself have a disability. Granted, it's not a physical disability, but I can't represent myself in that way either. But I really feel for people who are physically disabled and cannot represent themselves but can have fairies. So, and again with like the eco-living thing, it's just like, oh, it's just exhausting, because I'm not sure quite how to word this, so forgive me if what I say doesn't quite come across as coherent or making sense. And again, I've done this voiceover so many times now that I'm starting to slowly lose my mind. But in my lifetime, I will very likely never own a house. I will never be able to live off the land, because I cannot sustain myself in that manner because of how capitalism and corporations and money-hungry billionaires have A, destroyed the environment, and B, destroyed people like me's opportunities to pursue a lifestyle like that. You know, I could be lucky to do what I can to have some form of sustainable living, so that I'm not, you know, I guess forced to... nobody's forcing me to litter, for example. Like, yeah, I live as conscious of the earth as I can, but when it comes to eco-living, I cannot do it. And I think the reason EA is pushing this is because they want to market The Sims as being a fantasy world and not a life simulator. Everything is so utopian. There are no consequences for actions. There's very little realism. Everything is kind of pushed to this cartoonish extreme. And so it makes sense that they would then take this angle of want to feel free from capitalism and free from the horrors of the world and having to pay rent. Go live in the forest. And it just feels out of touch, because I don't necessarily think that their entire audience wants to be playing that out. Not everyone uses The Sims as escapism. I mean, sure, like plenty of people do, and that's why they're doing some of these packs. Like, definitely some people want these features. But is that at the top of anyone's list? Not the fairies thing. The fairies are fine. But is the eco-living at the top of anybody's list? Does anybody really desperately want eco-living? I think most people want to be able to, first of all, cause chaos in their game, but second of all, have their lifestyle, have their everyday struggle represented in the game, so that they can find, I guess, a source of, I'm gonna say solace, because that's that's the first thing that comes to mind. It's not exactly the word I'm looking for, but the feeling of being able to play out a life similar to your own in a life simulator game, I think it brings a bit of clarity or solace to a person. And relatability, being able, I don't know, you will all understand what I mean. You will all get what I'm saying. So I don't need to explain it, but yeah. So, and so many of us want that. So many of us want to be able to have grit and realism and have our sims struggle for money, for example, face consequences. And that's why they've tried putting out features that sort of do that, but they just fail every time because they are so unbelievably fixated on continuing to push out endless content rather than making sure that the stuff that they do push out is actually good. Like, it's the most basic concept of quality over quantity, and 25 years in, they haven't seemed to grasp that. I really do think that whoever was working on The Sims before, like years ago, did care about it, but the people we're left with now is like a skeleton crew of people who are either so exhausted and their voices aren't being heard, or people who just don't care, and it's like, I don't know, a guy in a room being forced to program. Yeah, and I don't want to be like super negative, but I think that I think you will all understand and relate, and that'll bring some kind of peace to everyone. Maybe not everyone will agree with me on the EA Creator Network thing. And again, I'm not like 100% educated or sure of how that system works, but I do know that they people on the EA Creator Network are there to market the game, and I do think it's a bit it's wishy-washy, the whole thing. And yeah, I'm censoring myself a little. I will text my boyfriend and complain about things and not publicly talk about it because I don't think I'm as articulate about my opinions as I want to be. I think I can be a bit harsh, so I'm trying to be aware of that. But at this point in the build, we moved into the living room and we are piecing together some things. I did have to re-record quite a lot of this because the footage was unusable. And I know it's very sad, but overall, I'm happy with the build. It's just I'm not happy with the video and the process for the video and how exhausted I am with the whole thing. And this was supposed to be up on Tuesday. It's currently like 4 a.m. on Friday. And I imagine this will go up probably around 9 a.m. So no one will see it. Everyone will be asleep, most likely, by the time that this video goes up. And that was not my intention, unfortunately. It happened because of so many issues outside of my control. So I am sorry about the delay on this. Next time I'm not gonna say when it I'm not gonna say when a video will come out. I'm just gonna be like, coming soon. I'll just be like really ominous about it, and then you can all guess. And I'll be like, I don't know, we'll see, maybe. Maybe, who knows? Who's to say? Could be now, could be tomorrow. Yeah. I don't know about you guys, but when I watch Sims videos, or yeah, I guess we'll go with Sims videos. I won't elaborate, I don't need to. When I watch Sims videos, I really enjoy people who talk about more than The Sims, and I think this is kind of it's a hot topic of conversation on one of the videos I put out, because not everyone likes to listen to voiceovers, and not everyone likes to listen to just music, and not everyone likes it when they watch a video and someone, like a speed build for example, like this, and someone talks about more than just the speed build. I personally, when I watch speed builds or any Sims video, I only stay and subscribe to the channel for the person's personality. I don't just watch the speed build for the speed build. If I don't like their personality, I will not watch the video. So I'm not, I guess this is my way of saying that I don't want to just talk about The Sims when I make Sims videos. I want to have the freedom to be able to talk about anything, because it's kind of like a little podcast, you know? Like, I'm doing a little podcast and I'm talking about anything, and in the background I have Sims going, and you can all watch me build and then download the build and have fun with the build. And we all have one thing in common: we all like The Sims, despite its many flaws and despite the fact that we should have let it go years ago. But yeah, I guess I don't want to feel like I have to only talk about The Sims in my videos. So I'm gonna be talking about multiple different things. I'm probably going to be here for another 30 minutes with you guys. I would love to stay for the full 2 hours. However, I have done this voiceover so many times now that I don't want to. I don't want to stay for the full 2 hours. Please don't make me do it. I'm so tired. So yeah, I don't want to like put out a PSA about it because I feel weird. I did put out a post on YouTube recently just about the way that some people talk to me online. And I think I spoke about this in my long play, but people are just a bit weird, a bit rude. There's such like if I did talk about this in my long play, then I apologize if I'm about to repeat some of the same things that I said in that, but there's a culture online nowadays about entitlement and very entitled adults. And in my post, I was very I think because it was a post and I'm not verbally saying it, I was able to articulate it in a way that was very accommodating for people's feelings. But the way that I really truly feel about it is kind of bitchy, to be honest. Like I feel like a bitch. But people are just unbelievably rude, and this entitlement, and I don't know how to tell you that you are not entitled to anything from me. Like nobody is entitled to anything from me. And if I'm approached by someone, like even in real life, if someone approaches me rudely, they are not entitled to politeness. You know, if your first impression of me is if my first impression of you is that you're rude, then you aren't entitled to me being polite to you in any way. Some people live their lives differently. Some people will, you know, how do I say this, fight hate with kindness, I guess. I'm not that kind of girl, you know. I'm a Capricorn and I'm a lesbian, so I'm a bitch. Like I don't know what to tell you. So a lot of the time I do get people, especially on one of my videos, my most popular video, there are a lot of people on there who don't play The Sims, and they love to come into my comment section and they love to make fun of me and the way that I talk. I had someone make fun of the fact that I say like a lot, and that I pause a lot when I'm talking, and I just don't care. And the craziest part is people love to phrase it as I'm giving you constructive criticism, or you're so sensitive, stop being so sensitive to the fact that I said this thing that directly insulted you. Or someone will leave a comment that they think is them trying to be like giving me constructive criticism, but they phrase it in a way that's very rude. And the most ironic thing about it is that I will then reply to them and tell them, well, what you said to me was actually quite rude and you're not welcome on my channel, like go away. And they get so upset that I told them that they were rude, and I'm just like, babe, the call is coming from inside the house. Do you see how you were calling me sensitive for being upset at your comment, but now that I have told you that you were rude, you are now being defensive and calling me defensive, and you're upset with me? It's just like, who is really the sensitive one here? You insulted me and I got upset. That's okay. That's a good reason for me to be upset. All I did was say that you were rude, and now you're upset. Anyway, I did like make that post about it, so I don't want to make a PSA being like I'm allowed to talk about whatever I want in my videos, because at the end of the day I need to ignore those people. I think it can just be a bit hard sometimes. Like if I have a bad day at work and I come home and I see someone in my notifications being like, I didn't like that you did this, it's just like, oh god. And that's what I mean when I say entitlement. You guys probably all have TikTok, but you ever like scrolling TikTok and you open the comment section? It's so funny. The example I'm gonna use is like, do you ever see a video on TikTok, on YouTube, even like open a recipe page, because this is gonna be about recipes. Someone will be like, how to bake a pecan pie. Step 1, have pecans. Someone in the comment section will be like, I don't like pecans. Can I use apples? Baby girl, that is an apple pie then. That is no longer a pecan pie. That is apple. You were trying. That's apple pie. Okay? It's a completely different thing. And that's what it feels like when people say things on my videos like, I don't like voiceovers. Go watch a video that doesn't have a voiceover then. I don't know what to tell you. It's like the entitlement, the need to share your opinion on something when you are not, you don't have the platform to speak. There are no stairs on this platform. You cannot speak, is what I'm saying. And it's difficult because everyone has the freedom to tell me if there's something in the video that like, if I talk about a topic that makes someone uncomfortable, everyone has the freedom to tell me, can you give a warning for that next time? Or if the video is too dark, hey, the video is a bit dark. Or if the speed is too quick for the speed build, hey, the speed's a bit too quick. Just be nice about it. I'm not gonna bite your head off. Just be nice. I'll bite your head off if you're rude, but like, be polite. Yeah. So we've moved into the bathroom now, I believe. And you know what? There's nothing interesting to say about a bathroom, to be honest with you. What can I tell you? It's a bathroom. I do have a really bad habit of using, when I do bathrooms, I use the same counter from the kitchen. And I do this all the time. I'm sorry. I know that realistically they don't look like that, but I just can't help myself. I really can't help myself. I think I also overuse this tile. So I do that in way too many builds. Yeah. I don't know, I always reach that point in my videos as well where I run out of things to talk about, which is why it is really hard to only talk about the build. Because I don't know what to say. I will complain about everything and anything though. I could make a whole like 3-hour video of a speed build of me complaining, but I don't think that would be that entertaining. I think it would get a bit irritating at some point to only listen to someone complain. But isn't that what most of friendship is anyway, to be honest? Or like any relationship you have with anyone in general, it's just you complaining back and forth at each other. I feel like that's most of my relationship with my partner, and also my friendship with my best friend. Although we don't talk as much as we used to. I very unfortunately, everyone I love lives very far away from me. My best friend is American, and so we have never met in real life. We've been best friends since I was 13 years old. She's not a Sims person, however, she is actually making my icon for the channel. She's not finished it yet, but we will see. She's an artist, she's a very talented artist, and as soon as she's done with that, she will be getting credit. I will mention her on the channel when she does it. Yeah, love her. She just lives very far away and she's very American, and majority of my audience as well as is American, and you guys are such funny little people. You have such funny little lives. I don't want to exclude anyone who isn't American. Before I start talking about this though, very quickly, we have moved into doing the preteen's bedroom. I'm sorry if you can hear me moving around as well. I have like a plastic tub that's by my feet and I keep accidentally touching it. We're doing the preteen's bedroom. Oh my god. I'm sorry if you have my chair. And I went with mostly white because it was inspired by Sarah's bedroom from The Last of Us, which is a very good game. If you haven't played it, I do recommend that you check it out. I think most people have probably played it now, especially since the HBO series, which obviously seems like a hot mess to me, by the way. Not a fan of that. I did watch season 1, and season 1 was okay, but I'm not a fan of... I haven't watched season 2 at all, but from what I've heard, it's been pretty bad. But yeah, it's based off Sarah's bedroom. That was the source of inspiration, and I tried to make it feel like a childhood bedroom, especially with this desk, but I don't think I quite captured it. And honestly, I'm just not like super happy with how it came out, the same as I'm not really happy with all of the bedrooms in this entire build, but I'm leaving it and letting it be what it is, because sometimes you just have to accept that something is just bad and just let it be. Yeah. Americans. Majority of my audience is American. I've looked at my statistics. There are so many of you. I'm not surprised because I am making a safe file set in America, and it is a bit funny because I'm probably one of America's biggest haters. And I don't mean that lightly. I mean, like, in a loving kind of joking way. Most of the people I interact with online and have for like a really long time, because I've been involved in a lot of different areas on the internet, unfortunately, are American. So a lot of people I know are American, and you like, not to stereotype, but you guys just know nothing about anywhere else in the world. One of my favorite bits online is that Americans don't know geography, and I think, like, yeah, we shouldn't stereotype that you guys are stupid, because you're definitely not. You guys are you know, very intelligent, and there are a lot of really, I'd say that America does a really good job sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes, with just its general population of being pretty politically active. There are a lot of politically active Americans, and I see a lot of that online. Most Americans, most people I see online who are politically active are American, but that could just again be because America is kind of like, you're Hollywood, so you're everywhere. When I was a kid, I wanted to live in America because I thought that I thought that America was just Hollywood, and I was like, but that's where all the celebrities are. And yeah, anyway, yeah, I think it's funny that people joke about how you don't know geography, and because, but okay, have I mentioned this before? One time my friends asked me to name the states on a map where the states have been divided, but there are no names. They asked me to name each state where I thought they were, and I did a really bad job. But I can almost guarantee you that, okay, I'm gonna ask, if anyone's still watching and listening, I'm gonna ask you a question, and I will know if you were lying to me. Okay, what is the capital of Australia? What is Australia's capital city? I can tell you what America's capital city is, but do you know what Australia's capital city is? And don't lie, don't Google it. If you Google it, I will know if you Googled it. I'll know. But, or like, name every Australian state for me. Name every city in Australia. I don't think you can. If you can, that would be really cool. But yeah, I don't think it's super great that, you know what, it's not even just the Americans. My boyfriend is like that. He's British, and I ask him to name every city or every state in Australia, and he doesn't know. I just think the Americans get a lot of slack for it because they're the louder voice. They really are. They are the loudest voice. And it's probably just that everyone targets Australia and makes fun of us for everything. I think we're second to America in that way, where Americans are made fun of for being quote unquote stupid, which again isn't true, but it is funny. But Australians are made fun of after the Americans because people think that our country is funny. Because people think that we are sleeping with spiders and there are snakes everywhere, which just isn't true. Which, a warning for anyone, I'm going to talk about spiders and snakes whilst I am currently decorating the master bedroom. We don't have spiders and snakes everywhere. It's just not true, and I wish people would stop saying that. In fact, I think it's really funny that I hear these jokes most frequently from my American friends who live in a country where there are bears. We don't have bears in Australia. We don't have any kind of large natural predator, except for crocodiles, but that is so circumstantial. And you may say the same thing about bears, where like, oh, you're not going to find a bear unless you go in a forest. Why are you so scared of snakes then? Because a snake, you're only going to find a snake if you go into like really tall grass in the summer, or if you go into the outback. And I say this, however, one time on my 17th birthday, there were snakes on the beach. But that was a one-time thing, and they had warning signs up about it. But I did see one before I even know that that was happening, so I was a bit, yeah, but it's fine, nothing happened. And then spiders, they're not, like, Australia's spiders are very, again, it's circumstantial. Unless you're like going outside and you like look under a chair that's been sat outside for the past 6 years and it hasn't moved, you're not gonna see like a redback spider, which is, I think it's venomous, but it's I don't think she won't like hurt you. I mean, well, there's anti-venom, you'll be fine. And then like huntsmans are very friendly, they won't go near you. They do live inside though, so that one I kind of get the fear of that. The world's most dangerous spider, we do have that here, I think. I think it's the Sydney funnel web. There could be another one that's more dangerous or venomous or whatever. Well, you know, there is actually, I recently learned, there is a difference between being the most dangerous spider and a spider that is, I think it's like most dangerous as in you are more likely to encounter it and more likely to be harmed by it, and most dangerous as in you are more likely to you're not likely to encounter it, but it is more likely to like instantly you. I don't remember how they phrased it, but apparently that's a thing. So I don't know what the Sydney funnel web is categorized as in that description, but I will tell you, it is called the Sydney funnel web because you can only find it in Sydney. So if you want to come to Australia and you are scared of spiders, just don't go to Sydney. I mean, even with that being said, you're not going to find that girl unless you look in the ground, because I'm pretty sure she's in the ground. Oh, that's just trapdoor spiders, actually. I don't know where the Sydney funnel web is, but she's a freaky looking spider. Don't look it up. If you're scared of spiders, don't look it up. I don't like the look of her. She makes me very, very uncomfortable. And I have horrible news for all of you. Apparently, apparently they found out that there is a relative of the Sydney funnel web that is larger than the Sydney funnel web. And I found this out recently. And I was very happy to remember that I don't live in Sydney. And I have no intention of ever living in Sydney, because I think that even me, you know, I'm the kind of person who captures spiders and puts them outside, which isn't good for them because they're inside for a reason, but still I don't want them in my house. I was very happy to remember that I don't live in Sydney, because that would really upset me. And you know, I think maybe because I'm Australian, I'm desensitized to it, and there's still going to be plenty of people, I'm sure if anyone is still listening, plenty of people in the comment section who say, I can't believe that you were okay with the spiders. But I just think there are spiders everywhere. You guys have, in any country, there are plenty of dangerous spiders and plenty of snakes. I mean, it's not just restricted to Australia. For some reason, we just we're just stereotyped for it, and it's funny. You people have bears. They're moose, which is insane. There are moose everywhere, apparently, in Canada or wherever they are. I don't know. And bears, which is just scary. Like, and haven't there? I swear I read somewhere that there are like polar bears in Canada, and aren't they like the worst? The worst one, like the one that's gonna hunt you down or whatever. I don't know. So I'm happy to tell you that we don't have bears. A bear will not hurt you. The only thing that's large that could hurt you in Australia is like a crocodile, and you could square up with a kangaroo. You could square up with a kangaroo, but I wouldn't recommend it, and that's not super likely to happen, honestly. Unless you go in the outback, I think you'll be okay. But yeah, it's a you know, we're a fun little country, I promise. Nothing's gonna eat you if you were ever thinking of coming here. One thing we don't have though, which is really sad, is we don't have bumblebees, and I'd never seen a bumblebee in my life. We have bees, obviously. Can you imagine if we didn't have bees? That would be insane. We do have bees, just don't have bumblebees, and they're like the sweetest, cutest looking little thing I've ever seen in my life. Our bees are just, you know, regular bees, I guess. And our birds are insane. We moved into doing the backyard now, by the way. We're piecing together the backyard, piecing together the exterior. I do love how the exterior came out. I think it's really nice. It's a square or a rectangle. It's a rectangle, so. But yeah. Our birds are insane in Australia. It's very funny, when my partner came here for the first time, as I said, because he's British and I bring him up in every video that I do, he in the UK, the birds are so sweet. They sing songs, you know, it's like out of Snow White. They sing songs and they're lovely and cute and sweet. Australia has parrots, and parrots are the worst kind of bird, I say, as someone who actually has pet parrots. I have two lovebirds who also happen to be one of the worst kinds of birds because they are horribly mean. They're absolutely vicious little birds. My bird bit my other bird the other day on the foot, and there was so much screaming happening, and she's okay, but he does it all the time, and it's ridiculous. Yeah, so UK, lovely birds, really sweet. So Australia, I go to the bus stop and I look up and there's a swarm of corellas screeching at 6 in the morning. And the same with like our cockatoos. They're insane, they're crazy. Our magpies are swooping you. When I was in high school, I used to live down the road from a high school when I wasn't doing online school. I lived in Queensland at the time, and magpies would swoop me on my way to school, and I knew a girl who had a scar on her forehead from getting swooped by a magpie. I don't know if that's something that happens in other countries who have magpies. Do you guys also get swooped by them in mating season in spring? Because they go crazy in Australia. Spring rolls around, October, and you're getting swooped. They're coming right for you. They don't want you anywhere near the trees. So that sucked. That was pretty. I used to have to hold my bag over my head as I was walking to school. Otherwise, I'd be getting swooped by a bird. And that was a lovely experience. But yeah, nothing. I mean, it's not that bad here. It really isn't. I think it's funny that we have that reputation, though. Of yeah. And then also the accent situation. I found that not really anyone outside of Australia, and sometimes people who even live in Australia, aren't actually aware that we have different accents. We don't all talk in the exact same way. So when I was in school, again in Queensland, because I'm from South Australia, but for a period of time I lived in Queensland, mostly when I was a teenager, I used to get told that I sounded like I was posh. So they would say that I sounded British, which is so untrue. So untrue. Please go listen to what a posh British person sounds like and then listen to my accent. I would say that autistic people, because I'm autistic, we tend to have a more formal and proper way of speaking. It's like an autism accent. So I would say that the reason I got that was mostly because I do speak, I guess, in a more formal and proper way. I mean, I don't really think I use the same speech I used to when I was younger, but like my accent definitely reflects me sounding like that, I guess. But we do just have different accents. Someone from Queensland, for example, is going to pronounce pool and school very differently to the way that I pronounce pool and school, and they say it in a funny way. But it's also fun to hear different accents in every country. I particularly love the way that Americans say eggs sometimes. I'm not sure what region people say it like this from, but they'll say like eggs. I think that's so fun. I love that. I think it's so cute the way that that's pronounced. Like say bags, for example, like bags. I think that's so fun. I don't know why I love that. Yeah, and you know, I think even people from America are also very surprised when you tell them they have an accent. But you do, like everyone has an accent. I think it's part of like I don't know, like I said, it's a funny little country with funny little people. Yeah, so the backyard I think is almost done. I really love the backyard for this house. Like I did try and copy it as much as I could from the Zillow listing with like the 2 trees. It's so simple. And I love a simple backyard. I don't like having to do like really fancy nice backyards. I know I have had a few requests from people if I could do like a nicer backyard, maybe for a family who has a bit more money so their house is a bit more put together, and I do intend on doing that at some point. I'm not sure when I'll get around to it, but I would love to do it. Someone on Tumblr, I did like a poll a little while ago for build requests, and one of them that didn't win was a craftsman house from based off of a movie, and I have considered actually doing a craftsman. Maybe because it didn't win, I probably wouldn't do it based off of the movie because that would be a bit of a challenge for me, but I could do a craftsman and then it could be like a very fancy nice house. But as for like my plans, like what I think I'll be doing for speed builds moving forward, I did take a little bit of a break for a month from doing them, which is why I haven't put any out recently because of difficulties that I was having. And since I had difficulties again, I'm probably just not going to do like a really big build for my next speed build. It'll probably be something smaller. I've been wanting to do a 90s style mobile home, so I'll probably do something like that. Probably not for the save file though, it'll just be like a build I'm putting out for fun. So yeah, don't expect anything big. We'll be going back to long plays as well. And hopefully soon I'll be able to get the pool done, because I've had so many people ask me if it's available for download, and it's not available for download yet. I haven't finished it. I've done a little bit of work on it, but it's not anywhere near being done. I have so much to do. And the same for the diner. Someone did ask if I would put the diner up for download. I'm still on the fence about that one because I want some things to be for the save file. I don't want everything to be immediately uploaded because it's kind of, in a sense, negates the point and I think takes away from a little bit of the excitement, but I also don't want to gatekeep my own builds. So yeah. We are nearing about an hour though, so I'm probably gonna go in a minute. Thank you all for listening to the voiceover. If you have, I'm sorry that I can't stay for the full thing. It is like a 2-hour and 10-minute video and I'm tired and I've done this voiceover so many times, and I hope that it's come out okay, and that despite the video having some continuity errors and a lot of issues with editing, that it's okay and I haven't missed anything majorly disruptive. And I'll see you all next time.